Please, can you take your seat si vous voulez bien vous asseoir? So, for the next 20-25 minutes, I will have the privilege to interview or to have a conversation with what we can call a powerful couple. I will start by a lady who, in fact, I will ask her first to introduce herself because it's so difficult to define who is Isabel dos Santos. So how would you define yourself, Isabel?
Well, thank you, Richard. First, I wanted to thank President Bongo for organizing this amazing event. Ali Bongo has done an amazing job in Gabon. It's great to host so many people that come from all over the world to discover this country and most of all discover Africa and its opportunities. So to define myself, I think the first thing is I'm Isabel. And definitely I'm somebody who is an entrepreneur. And I believe that you have to take initiative in your own hands and you have to find your own solutions.
But you are also an engineer. At least this is probably the only point we have in common.
True.
And you are a doer. You are an executive. You are also a social advocate, a mother. What does it feel like to now be known as the first African woman billionaire? Well,
being a woman and going into the business sphere or the investment sphere is a big challenge. Many women from whatever continent they're from, they know what I'm talking about. Not all doors are open to you. You don't often find the same treatment and you kind of have to prove yourself a little. But then again, when you come from Africa, then there's like double jeopardy. You're a woman and you're African. And on top of it, if you're young, then you have no credibility. So it is difficult. But I think that there is a new tendency in the world. If we look around all economies, we have a lot of young people starting up businesses, having initiative, creating employment. And so I think basically it's African women are just there. We have arrived. We're here.
But with this cliché of being the first African woman billionaire, what does that mean for you in terms of responsibility?
As Africans, we have definitely a responsibility to transform potential, because everybody says, well, potentially we are a rich continent. Potentially we could do this. So we definitely have a responsibility to transform potential into opportunity and into concrete facts. So that's the main responsibility. And then by creating jobs, making sure people have access to education, so educating our kids as mothers, making sure they go to school, then on that they're good people with the right values. It's also important to have good values and ethics in business, and that's really our responsibility.
This morning we spoke a lot about youth, and as you know, I think especially the African youth, they always look for a role model. It's important to be inspired. Who are your role models?
Well, we have quite a few role models in football, so.
Can you?
Well, I think I'm going to probably say something.
And who are for you, the Africa's today role model?
Well, my role model would be someone like my grandmother, who was an African woman that would sell in the market. She would wake up in the morning extremely early, and she would make sure that her children are fed and sent to school, and then she would go to the market and sell fruit, vegetables, to be able to pay for her home. And these women, and we have thousands, millions of them across the continent, they're an amazing trading power. They're really the ones that are vectors of our economy. So these are my role models.
You are a very discreet person, and, but I know that you are involved in so many areas, from telecom, from media. Can you tell us more about what is your day-to-day business?
Well, businesses always have a start. I mean,
how did you start, by the way? How did you start?
Businesses always have a start, and usually good businesses start small. So, you know, you have to start small. You have to definitely have an idea. You have to be very determined, very persistent. You have to be able to identify the right opportunity. Sometimes it's not going to work. and you just have to keep at it. And if you live in a country like I'm lucky to live in, a country like Angola, where our growth, economic growth, has been tremendous. We have had, for the last 10 years, growth above 10%. So we've had an economic boom. So many new people going into, from poverty to middle class, from middle class to wealth. So all of this, it's a good environment for somebody who wants to start a business.
You are building an amazing champion in telecom, Unitel. You even, I would say, push the boundaries. What role do you see for the telecom and the TICs, I would say, in the expansion of growth of the African infrastructure?
Well, I think a lot was said today about technology and infrastructure. How is that going to move Africa? How are things going to be changed? People discussed cell phones, but I think definitely telecom goes beyond mobile. Today we're talking a lot more about fiber, about how do we get connectivity with extremely high capacity from one city to another, because we need that high capacity. So I think we should think Africa beyond cell phone and Africa fiber and big broadband capacity.
How do you see, for the past 2-3 years, the evolution of the African consumer?
There's been a big change in trends.
How would you define today's African consumer?
Well, definitely.
Thanks to your involvement in banking and telecom, for example.
Well, definitely today, when you look all across the board, the consumer patterns have changed. Today, cities are the ones that contribute the most to the GDP. So that means that we have stopped being a rural consumer with basic needs, and we have now evolved to a more sophisticated city consumer. And this is true for Africa. When you look today at our demographics, a lot of people are living in urban areas, and they have the same needs and the same wants as anybody who lives in any city in the world.
You have the same passion, at least you are sharing at least one thing with your husband, which is the same passion and looking after the youth. We have a young generation of maybe potential leaders in the room. What would be the advices that you will give them? Because I'm sure that some of them look at you as a role model.
Wow, that's flattering, thank you. Well, as a young person, undoubtedly the key thing is knowledge. You really have to learn. You have to study, you have to learn, and then you have to get very specific knowledge. Not just a general broadband knowledge about everything. You have to be specific and very persistent about doing just one thing extremely well. And when you're able to do that, then you have many opportunities and you can achieve and do tremendously well in your career and professional life.
What is, I would say, your engine every day? Because when you are a billionaire, people think that you can stop and retire, enjoy life, travel over the world, sharing the passion that you have on art, culture. What is making you really working hard every single day? And thank you for coming here for a few hours, by the way.
You said something quite funny, which is about the cliches. Okay? Yeah. So cliches and labels are, a little bit difficult. And of course, how does one manage a cliche or a label? So I'm not too concerned about the cliches and the labels. I think really what one has to do is just what you do normally. I mean, if you enjoy working, you work. If you enjoy being with your children, you spend time with your children. But it's just about, guiding your life with your principles, with your values, and giving back to the community, and definitely being very present and involved in making sure that wherever you live becomes a better place in the world.
What do you do for fun?
That's a good question. What are you doing later?
I think it would be great maybe to, Isabel has accepted to take some questions from the floor. I don't know if we have some microphone and if some people would like to use that opportunity to ask 2-3 questions to Isabel dos Santos. Okay, we have one question on the front. The gentleman here, please, if we can give. And can you introduce yourself? And as you know, a question is starting by a word and a question mark. Huh?
Hi, my name is Neil, and wondering how long do you think it will take to rebuild infrastructure in Angola?
Hi, Neil. Thank you for the question. Well, that is a question that has been definitely challenging both the government, the business community, and undoubtedly every single Angolan person, because we all want to see the roads and the ports and the airports. The good news is that Angola has been since 2002, investing and developing a very large infrastructure projects. We have done ports, airports, thousands of kilometers of road. So I think it's rather sooner than later. I think we're really on the right track, and already today much of it has been built.
Another question, please, the gentleman.
I'm Rob Hersov. Angola...
Can you introduce yourself,
Yes,
please?
I'm Rob Hersov, a man of many investments and businesses in Africa and elsewhere. I was in Luanda recently, and I must say it's a very impressive city. Angola, South Africa, and America have had a very positive influence on the DRC. The DRC's had a number of years of stability, and as a result, there's been extraordinary economic growth and some amazing business success stories there. Can Angola continue that in other countries, try and bring stability and peace to other countries in Africa? And is that Angola's intention to be a bit more active in Africa?
Thank you, Rob. Well, Angola has enjoyed stability, security, and peace. And these three factors have contributed to economic growth. And the fortunate thing is this economic growth has translated into infrastructure that has been able to integrate people and to provide new business opportunities. So today, there are many investors or Angolan business leaders who are looking at other regions around Africa, DRC being one. And of course, I believe that investment goes both ways. So certainly we will have investors coming from the DRC enjoying opportunities in Angola and vice versa.
If I'm an investor who wants to invest in Angola, what would be the best advice that you will give me? In which area should I go, and what is the best way to navigate to have easy access in Angola?
Well, we have many opportunities. It's a country with an amazing potential. It goes from mining to fishing to technology, pharmaceuticals. There's a whole diverse range of areas where an investor could potentially come and invest. We also have a very positive investment code which allows a lot of tax breaks for people who are interested to come in. We have a lot of support and advice in terms of banking sector, being able to provide support to foreign investors who want to come in. We have good advisory services. All the big international top advisory firms are now in Angola. They have extremely good country knowledge. So if you go to any of them, they have very good country data and are able to guide you through for your investment.
And what would be the easiest access?
And
Through you?
For the agency?
Yeah,
the
for an investor.
The investment,
Yeah.
No, we have an investment agency. They have a fast track. It's a 45-day investment model, so I don't think you can get any faster than 45 days. So.
One more question? Yes, number one.
Thank you very much. Isabel dos Santos, I will start by saying I'm very glad by speaking to you in this forum, especially because I speak Portuguese, and it seems like we've inherited the same official language from Portugal. My name is Elder Malawene from Mozambique. I'm here representing the Africa 2.0, which I would be really very glad to provoke Isabel so she can get curious about what is Africa 2.0, and please for you to join it, because it's one of those organizations that came in Africa, led by a young African, and brought other young Africans to say, together we can, and we can work in the name of Africa to turn opportunities into realities.
And what is your question now?
Yes, the question is not even a question. It's
Okay,
to
so
invite,
it's 2 minutes publicity for Africa 2.0.
is to invite
Excellent.
Isabel
Okay.
to become member of the Africa 2.2.
Thank you for the invitation. Quelle est votre question, juste
Nous
rapidement?
nous n'avons pas la culture du numérique.
Oui.
Donc, quelle stratégie
Oui.
pour que l'investissement réalisé soit capitalisé? Parce que tout ce qui est fait comme développement institutionnel, communication, au jour d'aujourd'hui,